Welcome to G-Files History. Today is May 14th, a day of declaration, destiny, and deep division. On this day in 1948, in the crowded Tel Aviv Museum, David Ben-Gurion, head of the Jewish Agency and soon-to-be Israel's first prime minister, stood before a room of Jewish leaders and solemnly declared, "We hereby proclaim the establishment of the Jewish state of Eretz Israel, to be known as the State of Israel." With that historic pronouncement, the modern state of Israel was born, fulfilling the vision that had been forming for over half a century and answering a cry for refuge and self-determination that echoed across the continents and generations. The seeds of this day were planted in the late 1800s with the rise of Zionism, a political and spiritual movement led by figures like Theodor Herzl, calling for a Jewish homeland in the response to growing anti-Semitism in Europe. Jewish migration to what was then Ottoman-controlled Palestine began to rise, increasing tensions between Jewish immigrants and the Arab population. After World War I, the British took control of Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. In 1917, the British issued the Balfour Declaration, expressing support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people. Yet they also pledged to protect the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities. The contradictions sowed the seeds for future unrest. As Jewish immigration increased, especially during the 1930s and 1940s, amid Nazi persecution and the horrors of the Holocaust, tensions exploded into violence between Jews and Arabs, and between both communities and British colonial forces. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem placed under international administration. The Jewish leadership accepted the plan. The Arab states and Palestinian Arab leaders rejected it. As British forces prepared to withdraw, violence between Jewish and Arab communities intensified. Then on May 14, 1948, one day before British mandate expired, Ben-Gurion announced the establishment of the State of Israel. The very next day, May 15th, armies from Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq invaded the new state, launching the Arab-Israeli War of 1948. The war ended in 1949 with Israel victorious and in control of more territory than was allotted by the UN plan, but the victory came at a deep cost. Over 700,000 Palestinian Arabs were displaced or fled during the fighting, an event Palestinians call Nakba, or catastrophe. Hundreds of Arab villages were depopulated and most refugees were never allowed to return, creating a Palestinian diaspora and a refugee crisis that remains unresolved. Tensions between Israel and its Arab neighbors hardened, leading to decades of war, uprisings, terrorism, peace talks, and ongoing conflict. For Jews worldwide, the creation of Israel was and remains a historic triumph, a sanctuary after the Holocaust, and a national revival. For Palestinians, it marked the beginning of dispossession, statelessness, and struggle. Today, Israel stands as a global technological and military power, with a vibrant democracy and a diverse population. Yet it also remains a deeply divided land, where questions of land, identity, justice, and peace remain painfully unresolved. That's May 14th, one day, a world of history.